Sveiki visi sostinės krepšinio mokyklos bičiuliai, treneriai, auklėtiniai, tėveliai. Šiandien jau paskutinė šio sezono SKM podcast'o laida ir specialiai šiai laidai paskutiniai, kad vainikuoti gražiai mūsų sezoną, pasikvietėme iš ties išskirtinį svečią, specialiai iš Prancūzijos atvykusi ir praėjusį savaitgalį puikią sporto psichologijos kliniką Vilniuje surengusi prancūzą Nico Bourgade. Hello, Nico. Labas.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So today we will speak in English, yeah? It will be easier and better.
Easier for me.
But I hope you will learn Lithuanian in a few years.
I will for sure.
Yeah. So with Nico we'll talk about his mental performance coach. It's like sports psychologist, yeah?
Yeah, it is two parts for me. It's obviously psychology, but it's two aspects of the mental part. You have mental health first, which is dealing with the emotions, all the psychology effects and the foundations of how to be in control of all of these emotions. And the second aspect of it is mental performance. And that's where I'm working specifically with basketball players to help them in specific situations that we deal with as basketball players or coaches. Like we talk often about free throw shooting, last possessions, frustrations according to decisions from the referee, or frustrations, fans, and all those.
In Lithuania, sports psychology is quite new thing. We have maybe 4 or 5 sports psychologists in our country, and I think no teams of Lithuanian basketball league or national league or academies, they don't have their own sports psychologist. It's quite new thing, and then Žalgiris, I think last season had one, but they decided not to continue. Why it's so important, this role for the teams, for basketball players?
Well, we are a generation where when we were kids ourselves, we developed technical skills a lot. And then we were about 20 years old, eventually we developed strength and conditioning skills. But what about the mental skills? Right now we see players on top of their game on the technical side, on the physical side, but definitely not on the mental side. And that's where we have a lot of improvement. So right now, everybody agrees, at the top level of organization, they all agree that we need to work on it. They just don't know how to, and they don't know who to work with. Because if you work within one team, maybe 2 players are going to want to work with you, and maybe 8 or 10 players are not going to want to work with you. And then when you work with the players, you have the knowledge. You're able to, for example, like sports psychologists would regularly work with organizations. They have the knowledge about understanding emotions, about giving tools for players to manage all of their emotions, their mental health, and on the long run. But are they able to communicate to the players so that they are being understood? Meaning, I'm a former player, former coach. I understand specifically what are the needs of a basketball player, of a basketball coach. I love other sports. I love football, I love rugby, I love tennis, I love many other sports. But I wouldn't work with other players from other sports because my knowledge is specific to basketball. And I understand the general knowledge about sports, but definitely not the specific knowledge of every sport. And that's where I think it's important to really be specific with players because you are understood better and you understand them better. The relationship of trust is key if you want to be successful.
Nico, tell your story. How did you find sports psychology? You said you played basketball, yeah?
I played basketball all my life since I was a kid. Obviously, like every other kid, willing to be the best I could be and eventually become professional. I started in France. Then I went to US to play Division 3 basketball in the NCAA in a very good program at the time. And eventually met a Lithuanian teammate there. That's where my Lithuanian love story started. And when I came to France, I realized that I could not make it as a professional. I started coaching right away. So I started coaching, taking all the tests, diplomas to become coach, the best I could be, just like the same way I was as a player. And then, I realized that on top of the coaching as a team coach, there was also the need after of individual skills coach, working with fundamentals, which I loved as well. And working with the fundamentals, I realized how much the mental aspect of the game was necessary and how much players needed it. And there was nothing that was done. So I started looking and researching into what was done, sports psychology into other sports, golf, baseball, tennis, reading psychologists, having a master in sports psychology now, and discovering techniques like hypnosis, visualization, and all those, meditation, and making it all together. And I believe that just like any other coaching skill, you have to own your own technique and your own philosophy so that you can go all the way. So I built it up all for myself, and according to my experience as a coach and player, according to my philosophy, to my to who I am as a human being, to what I believe in, that's what I give to the players I work with. And right now, it's based on trust, and the relationship is just based on trust for me to be successful to work with my players.
You are 40 years old this year, big anniversary. How long you're working like a sports mental performance coach?
Mental performance coach been the last 5 years, but let's say that I really focused on that the last 5 years. But as a coach, you always do mental performance. Just right now, I just went into finding the right techniques and the right tools because to focus on this 100%. Because what I noticed is that coaches, no matter how great they are, they just cannot be taking care of each and every player every day of the week, and to be able to handle his situation or her situation individually. It's just not possible. They have so much to take care of already. So it's like if you were saying that right now, okay, like a head coach has to take care of the strength and conditioning coach. Like, is he able to? Of course, he's going to understand, like, eventually to do a warm up or to work like maybe once a month or once every 2 weeks on a specific speed or agility or whatever. But a coach is not able to do the strength and conditioning coach on top of his coaching job, right? So why would he be with the mental coach, with the mental skills coach as well? He's not able. He doesn't have the time. It's not that he's not capable of, he just doesn't have the time to do his job and that job at the same time.
Okay, but in France, it's popular to have mental performance coach?
It's popular nowhere yet. It's nowhere to be popular yet.
Why?
Because we are at the beginning of it. I like to always say that it's like when we were playing basketball and technical skills, it's like when you were shooting free throws between the legs, with the two hands. To me, it's a very good metaphor to realize that right now we are really at the time of the dinosaurs, in terms of mental skills. And that's called awareness. And to be able to have, acceptance of where we are right now. It's important to be able to be accountable and look at each other in the mirror and say, okay, where are we right now? Where can we go? And then you have people in life who are visionary. We're going to understand the situation and we're going to understand the improvement that's possible. And that's where we have people like you right now who are able to say, hey, that's important. Let's work on it. Imagine the potential that there is with the players, no matter the age. It can be with kids. It can be with pro players. The potential is huge. And we see it at every level. We see it in the NBA again last night. We see it in the EuroLeague during the weekend. We see it at every level. We saw it with the kids at SKM clinic during the weekend, how players, no matter the age, are able to have such a potential to reach if we help them. We're not looking for robots. We're looking to help players take control of their game, their mental game, so that instead of just spending hours and hours and hours on the technical or physical, they're able to master their own game.
Yeah, but the history of sports psychology started 100 years ago, 1920 in Germany. So it's quite long time. At maybe NBA now have teams has.
Of course, they have sports psychologists. I've talked in my podcast as well, like with a few of them, sports psychologists who are actually working within the entire organization. And again, to me, the work that's been done right now, I'm not criticizing any of it. I'm sure there are very big professionals. They know their job, but what's being done as psychologists right now is really taking care of the mental health, which is a key thing. It's really important for people to manage their emotions, be happier, manage their motivation, and handle all the adversity and pressure they have on a regular basis. But on top of that, you have to go through the mental performance that's specific to basketball. How let me explain. Like, how do you want a psychologist who never play basketball, who never shoot a free throw, who never took the ball in the last possession, or who never handle like a bad decision from the referee at a critical time? How you want the psychologist to understand specifically what he feels like?
Mm-hmm. So you say that ex-players, they have to be mental performance coaches.
I'm not saying they have to be. I'm just saying that they will understand those emotions better. And if a former player or a former coach wants to learn the psychology, the basis of psychology, of techniques, again, like meditation, like visualization, like hypnosis, self-hypnosis, all those, it can help you build to specific needs to basketball. And I'm saying one more time, I'm not in war against psychologists who haven't played sports. I'm sure they have a lot of knowledge into mental health, dealing with emotions, into the global part of it for foundations, or for problem that's outside of the basketball court. There's no problem. Me, I don't want to be categorized. I'm not a psychologist. If you come see me explaining to me that you have issues outside of the basketball court, like at home, dealing with trauma from childhood, I'm not the right person to come see me. You know what I mean? I'm there to help players perform better. And as basketball players, it's not the same thing. Psychologists are needed for players who have trauma and who want to do those things outside. But on the basketball court, I believe you have to be specific. And that's what we are into strength and conditioning one more time. I like to compare, but if you want a strength and conditioning coach to be specific and to be very good into basketball, is making you work into muscles and speed and lateral movement that are necessary for basketball players. He's not going to make you just a general strength and conditioning program that's good for all athletes, right? He's not going to make you a strength and conditioning program that's good for managing a company. So why would we do the same again for mental performance? And let me tell you the one reason why we have like mental coaches ready to work with everyone. It's financial.
Yeah. But you also said for the kids this weekend, when we worked in our Skills Academy clinic, you said that the skills that we will get in this clinic, they will use not in only basketball court, but also getting a job, chasing a girl. Yeah,
of course. But it's like, again, through sports, when you're teaching and coaching those kids how to become basketball players, they're learning how to give 100% of themselves, how to, when they go down, how to be able to, overcome the adversity and all those. So that's in that way that you help them grow and become human beings on the long run. That's that way. But when we're talking about performance, about the top level, that's where I believe that there is a difference and that you have to be specific. Because when I'm saying that it's financial, I'm saying that if sports psychologists were just living from one sport, they wouldn't go other sports. They wouldn't go handle with management of business management or anything like this.
Yeah, they can focus.
Exactly. But right now they exploring all the possibilities because you have to financially you have to. And if financially they could live from it, which they will in a few years because it's obvious that it's just gonna blow out, they will not go like all the way. You will see that people will narrow themselves into their work and they will see, I'm basketball, I'm tennis, I'm golf, I'm whatever, or I'm business, but they will not go one or the other. You have to be specific. Are you coaching tennis? Are you coaching football? Are you coaching basketball? You can't help if it's just for kids at a certain age. But when we are talking about performance, we are talking like earlier I had the chance to meet with Kęstutis Kemzura. Is he coaching Vilnius football team?
No.
He's not. You know what I mean? He's at the Wolves. He's a head coach, basketball head coach. He's not going to go coach basketball and then coach football and then coach baseball or whatever sport, right? So why, again, would he be different with mental skills?
Yeah, good point. About your relationships with Lithuania. You were in Kaunas in EuroLeague Final Four, and I know that it's not your first time here. Your kids are speaking Lithuanian, and your wife is also Lithuanian. How did you meet her?
Well, it started in the United States. So I went to play basketball in a D3 program in NCAA there. and I had the chance to meet with a Lithuanian teammate, Marius Zalieckas, and we became European brothers. You know, when you're across the world between 18 and 22 years old, I think that you create really strong bonds. And the first time I came to Lithuania, at the time for his birthday, I arrived at his parents' place at home, and no matter what time we were coming back from partying at night, it could be 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I was arriving at home, opening the door, and Mama Zalieckas was saying, "Ar nori valgyt? Ar nori gerti?" No matter what time. And you could feel all the love from Lithuanian families. I always came to Lithuania with a lot of respect and passion and humility, and for Lithuanian basketball and for the people in Lithuania. I like how proud they are of being Lithuanian. I think that's something that's really important. And finally, one of those days from coming to Lithuania, I met with my wife, who accepted to dance with me. And from one dance to another, we ended up married, and we now have 2 kids. So we have a beautiful family. Her family is really kind and warm, and that's just the way I like it. So I really do respect and love Lithuania a lot.
You wrote a great book, and it's for your kids, yeah?
Exactly.
Can you tell me more about this book? How did the idea come?
The idea came from, again, my research. I looked everywhere, like having the chance to speak in English, French, I understand Spanish, Italian. So I looked all over the place for books to become better and master the mental skills. And there wasn't really anything specific for kids, and even less for kids in basketball. So I said, let's make it, you know, like I remember what it was like to be a basketball player, young basketball player, and sometimes it was hard to deal with injustice, with the referees, with adversity, with losing, with winning, and all those, and reaching the best level that we could. So between being a kid and then moving to US and then going back and forth and looking everything that's going on, I said, let me try to help them out. And I said, I'm gonna write something that's very simple for players, for kids to understand, can be good from 10, 12 years old until like 2022. And the idea is to say, let's put it into situation. Let's not waste time like writing words to write words. Let's just make sure that it's short, easy to understand for kids, so that sometimes if they don't like reading, it can be done in like 1-2 pages, and it's okay. If you don't read for another 2 weeks, it's okay. Come back to when you want it. There are a few illustrations, so very specific, so that they can really remember, oh, I was in that situation. So it's not just imaginary or theory. It's really about what players go through, and for them to say, okay, I'm not alone. Sometimes it's not easy to talk to your parents or to hear parents talking, or sometimes the coach doesn't have time. So it's like, I'm not alone. I can find ideas, and he can give players the thing to say, okay, let me look into it more, and eventually learn more, you know, with other videos or meeting with coaches or anything like this. But it's just to help players and say, listen, you're not by yourself. Make sure that you can develop your mental game like this, and here are a few tips for you to get, so that when you go to the next game, instead of putting your head down and being mad, eventually keep your head up and get your teammates with you, so that you can keep raising your game.
Yeah, it's amazing. I really liked that part, how to be a special teammate that is true leader. Can you tell a little bit?
Well, we did discuss it during the SKM clinic over the weekend, and I think we had kids from different ages, but everybody understood. Everybody really it made sense for everyone, right? So when you make them understand how, for example, we talked about body language, how they all understood the frustration of. Again, a bad call, a teammate not passing the ball, a missed shot or anything like this, and how you take the time to explain to them that if they see each other, if they see themselves having a bad body language.
Can you show some
Of course, I don't know how much I can move, but
See, you can sit and show.
if you can just like you miss a shot and you go down with your head, or the referee is making a bad call and then you're making your hands like this, and this is international. It's not Lithuanian or French or US or anything. It's international. You go like this, or the ref, you go like this, whatever, you know. And you have in some countries actually more showing more reactions than others. All this body language, first of all, is actually translating emotions from within. And second, like we talked with the kids at SKM this weekend, was like, so it's bad body language from you, showing frustration. Then it's showing your teammates a lack of leadership. And then you give them the opportunity to also go down mentally. And then it's going to give extra confidence to the opponent. And so when you explain that to the kids, to the players, and then they realize, okay, so I'm having bad emotions, frustration, madness, angriness, whatever it is. And instead of showing it, if I learn how to master it, and if I learn how to hide it from others, eventually I'm going to show more leadership. Eventually, maybe my teammate is feeling frustrated, but if I don't show frustration, maybe he's going to stick up to me and be like strong as well and be, you know, more positive and clapping and showing like strength. So you're being stronger, your teammates are being stronger, and then you're not giving extra confidence to the other team. So it's all positive, right? And from this, not only all those positive things are coming, but on top of that, you're able to then refocus a lot faster on what's coming next and staying positive with positive vibes instead of having all that negativity. Because negativity can come just from one little thing of sand, you know, and then one thing another is going to build up like a big ball because you let it go. Except that if you become positive like this and turn that perspective, and then you just stay positive or come back to positive faster.
But how to react to bad whistle or, I don't know, coaches are shouting. It's a lot of basketball is about emotions, for fans loves emotions, bad emotions and good emotions.
Of course.
More bad maybe.
And we do not want to cancel emotions. We don't want to erase them. We want to use them. We want to embrace them. So if you feel frustration, if you feel anger, we need to accept it, we need to embrace it, and we need to use it positively to bring more intensity, to bring more determination.
For example, I am defender and my player, my rival, he made a 3-point shot. I always say, that.
Right. Well, what do you say? Instead of saying here, make sure that you clap your hands, let's go. And you can look at your teammates and say, let's make it harder for them to have a better shot next time. Let's keep working hard on defense and let's make sure that we get a good open shot on the next one. But you focus on what's coming next. That can be the next offense and then obviously the next defense. If you don't want it to be happening again, you don't want to leave open shots. But you got to accept, having the other team scoring baskets, right? You can expect to win like 100-0 or what? So the thing is, it's part of the game that the other team scores baskets. The problem is very often we have the score that's having influence into players' performance. And it should be the other way around. Players' performance should have an impact on the score. You know what I mean? And since we are kids, we are winning. At first, we are playing actually to play and to have fun. But then it becomes about performance. It becomes about winning, about scoring baskets, and about the score. So by growing up, we forget the essence of the game, which is focus on what you control right now, focus on giving your best effort with the right attitude, and things will be okay. And because we forget that, we focus so much on the outcome, on the results, on the score, that then it has an impact on us, on our performance, because we become more stressed if the score doesn't go our way. Then our body are more tensed. And then if you're tense, how you want to shoot the ball well when you're tense? You need fluidity. And we had that example during the clinic over the weekend, how when players go to the free throw line, they very often miss their second free throw. When they miss one, they miss the second one. When they do, and they shoot short. Why they shoot short? Most of the time because they do not want to miss, and because instead of having that fluidity, they're a little tense. They want to control, how you don't want to miss and you want to control the ball instead of just going through, So it's really passionate, but I would like to make sure to not be misunderstood too. there is not just one miracle recipe. Everybody has to work consistently the same way that we work with technical, with physical. You don't just do moves like you're not going to do an in and out between the legs behind the back and do it one time and then you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to do it on Saturday at the game.
Repeat.
Exactly. So it's the same thing again. So when you have that frustration, you can have frustration because it's been years and years and years. All right. So now let's develop eventually, breathing techniques so that it helps you refocus, calm down your heart rate, and make sure that by reminding yourself about what are your objectives, your standards, to refocus on what's important for you right now, which is again what you control. But you got to be okay with the fact that you don't control it right now because you haven't been taught. So you need to work on it. It's a process of learning. It's a process to accept the situation as it is right now. But when you visualize the potential of it all, it's like it's marvelous. I'm saying like the players I've been working with so far, you should see the improvement, how it goes again from free throw percentage to managing foul troubles, from reactions off the court, from coming back and kicking ass on the court and on the regular basis. It's key. It's really amazing.
It's so interesting topic. I think we can speak hours and hours, but our time is going so fast. So few more questions. One, Nikos, I'm also referee sometimes in Veteran Kids Championship. Last Friday I was referee, and wow, coaches are shouting shouting on the referee. Then players are shouting and making that body language. Yeah. Then parents do the same. What do you think? What is the coach impact for this? And what do you think about coaches who are always shouting on the kids?
But again, I don't think there is a right or wrong. I think there is a situation right now. I think it might depend again on some countries about what you allow or what you don't allow. And then right now, what I saw in Lithuania, it's true that, and we saw it again this weekend, kids don't accept the injustice. And that's where I think that we have a work to be done to prepare those kids to say, hey, first, the referee is a human being. So that should be taught into developing the players. Because when a player misses a shot, when a coach makes a bad decision, what happens? Does anybody yell at him? Not very often, right? So why do we take the habit all over the world to criticize the referees? We need the referees, and it's easy what I say, it's theoretical. But when you explain to the players, listen, when you're getting mad, what's happening? You're going to complain, you're going to get mad, it's going to be frustration, your body's going to become tense, your heart rate is going to go fast, and you're not going to be focused to go defend on your player, right? So it's just all negative. And instead of just making them understand that it's okay, the referee is a human being, which they can understand, but it's just basic, you can also make them understand the necessity and the reason why they need to stop with that attitude. Because first, that's something that they do not control. They have to deal with it. And second of all, you explain to them, okay, like I just explained, all those situations make it that you're not performing. Okay, so what do you want? You want to perform or you want justice? Injustice is part of life, right? So deal with it. Focus on what you can control. Focus on your attitude. Focus on your effort, and all will go well. And when the referee makes a bad decision, move on to the next one. But again, it doesn't go like this, right? You need to repeat it. You need to make sure that it becomes something standard. It becomes something that's obvious and normal. But I haven't been taught like this. My parents were yelling all the time at the referee. He was at the game, he was on TV, and I've been raised like this. So when I was 13, I was looking for justice. I wasn't understanding those things. And that's why I feel like I'm someone who understands those situations. I'm not a robot about being perfect. It's not about it. Use your emotions, but use them wisely. And when you have them that are wrong, learn how to master those negative emotions and turn them into positive.
To make a skill. In the clinics, Skills Academy clinics, you told me to be a referee and to whistle whistle
The bad calls,
traveling,
right.
yeah, bad decisions. Andrews, you have to make bad decisions.
On purpose.
Yeah, to learn with kids. And I started making bad decisions, showing on sportsman's like fouls, traveling, double dribbles. Kids were crying. You saw that?
Right.
What did you tell them?
One kid was crying at first, right? A little young too, but other ones that were a little older understood. And I think that's a drill that should be used regularly by the coaches so that they become aware of the situation. And again, they cannot control those things, so that you have to deal with it. How do you respond to this? You want to become a champion. How do you respond to adversity? And again, I had to show them, we show them specific situations that happen at the top level, at the EuroLeague, at the Eurocup, in the NBA, where players had to deal with it. And in the end, it had an impact on the game, on the results, winning or losing, because you didn't know how to handle those situations. So again, we talked about it for 2 days during the clinic, but it takes consistent work to keep repeating and to make them understand, look, there is a mistake, you might not agree with it. Now you have two choices. Either you go down, put your head down and stop playing, and then you're going to lose the game. You're not going to give your best effort. You're going to have regrets. Or you understand that you can move on from it. You can take control of the things that you can, again, attitude and effort, and give it your best and work even harder in defense to get that stop. Work even harder in offense with intensity to get a better shot. And then eventually you get out of the game and you give it all and you're going to be happy with it.
Yeah, great ideas. How do you think, how old kids can start learning about mental skills, mental performance? From what age we should coach them?
I don't think there is any specific age. I heard once a very known American sports psychologist said about visualization how I don't think it was useful before maybe 13 or so. I don't really agree with that, and I don't think there is one truth again, because in coaching you have different options, and it's the same in mental skills coach. For example, when you talk about visualizations, I think that young kids have a lot of imagination. So obviously you can wait for them to have had situations in the game for them to relate to it. That's one thing. But it's important to be able to use your imagination while it's at its best, and it's at its best when you're young. Same for breathing techniques. You were talking about the one kid that started crying after the ref decisions. He's young. And when you're very young, he was maybe 10 years old. And when you're 10 years
11.
old, right? When you're young like this, it's eventually interesting to learn breathing techniques. You know, you worked on it, and I think breathing techniques helps you focus, calm down, you know, like feel what's around you right now, all those things. So I do believe those techniques don't have to be complicated, but can be a true asset for the kids, so that when they go to school again, you know, when they have a test, when they meet a girl that they like, when there is a problem with another kid, you know, like harassing them or something like this, when they're able to eventually deal with it better. And that's what you want through sports. You want to help them get the right values and for them to take control of their mental emotions.
Yeah, because most of them, they won't become basketball players, but they become Lithuanian people, parents, businessmen, engineers, and our stuff. Yeah, it's important skills. By the way, how do you think? Is it possible opportunity for parents to get this book in skmshop.lt?
Of course, it's no problem. Like the
English version is on Amazon.
There is English version already on Amazon, English, Italian, Spanish, French, and it's a bestseller in France so far.
Yeah,
it's been sold in many countries already, and the Lithuanian version just got out last week. Got printed out last week. So with SKM, there was partnership too, working with the federation as well. So if anyone is interested, obviously it's very simple. It's like 58 pages of simple but very interesting and direct situations. So I'm sure it could be very beneficial to kids, to parents, to coaches. Not to be criticized, because it's not the point of the book, but for people who are open-minded and looking into what's that, you know?
Great. So we will definitely suggest for SKM Shop, our sponsors of this podcast, also to get this book and to to create the opportunity for parents to buy it online and to get it home to read together with their kids. And final question: what do you want to wish for SKM community, for parents, kids?
Well, I think SKM is doing a great job in Vilnius too, so growing and things. I think you need to keep going like this. The people that I've met so far are like passionate people, the coaches, you, the managers, everyone. I think you need to keep going that way to keep rising with what's coming next. It's good not to be afraid, for example, of that topic. And you can clearly see that the feedback was great with the kids. So keep growing with the quality. It doesn't have to be only quantity, but keep growing with the quality of what you're doing with the coaches. Kids seems to be happy. And that's, again, the most important thing. I'm a parent. I'm a coach. I like performance, but I'm also a parent. And I know that as a parent, what we want from our kids is them to be happy. And I think that's what you guys are doing.
Great. So I hope one day to see you living here in Lithuania and your son coming to SKM. We're waiting.
Definitely. Sounds good.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Nikos. Thank you, everybody who watched this podcast. I hope you enjoyed a lot of good information. Don't forget to visit SKM Shop LT. I think soon you can buy this book online. Bye-bye and see you next year. Pasimatysime kitais metais. Ate!
Ate!
Pažangiausia įranga. Patikimuose rankose. Jūsų sveikatai. Medicinos diagnostikos ir gydymo centras.